Hi everyone, I'm Steve Stoller.
And I'm Shannah Haley, and this is Inside Plano, where we take you behind the scenes of our city.
We'll introduce you to the faces and places who help make this a great place to live.
And give us lots of reasons to love Plano.
Hello, Shannah.
Hi, Steve. You know, spring is finally underway, and it's so great to see all the trees and the flowers in bloom.
I love when the weather gets warm, everything blooms, it makes me happy. And you know, speaking of happy, Plano was just named the happiest place in America.
You know, okay, I know that you got angry because when it was announced on the Today Show, one of the hosts didn't look excited, but I think it is surprising. I think it's fair to say it was a surprise to be named the happiest city in America.
Maybe it's just us and the fact that we live here and
I'm
we
happy all the
understand
time.
why it's a happy place, because we have so much going for us in terms of being a great place to live, work, and play. But it was actually during this segment with Hoda and Kathy Lee.
Yes.
And Hoda was naming off the places, and she said Madison, Wisconsin, Irvine, California. She said, Kathy Lee, guess what it is? Kathy Lee couldn't guess. Hoda said, it's Plano, Texas. And she had a look on her face like she was shocked. Like, what? Plano, Texas? And then she said she was surprised that it wasn't New Orleans or Nashville, which is her favorite city.
Gotcha.
So I actually, on social media, I tagged her on Twitter, and I said, why don't you come to Plano so we can show you why we're the happiest place in America?
Well, you know, Kathy Lee is retiring,
Right.
So I don't think we'll be able to get her here,
No.
but I'm determined. We're going to show off why Plano is a happy place. So we'll keep working on that.
We got a lot of publicity on that accolade. It went around the country, television stations, newspapers, radio. It's amazing.
Do you remember the factors? Because again, it is a little surprising to be named the happiest city. What were some of the things that survey looked at?
There were 31 different metrics that they looked at, and some of the main ones were time spent during the course of a day on leisure activities. Another one was level of stress and depression. Ours was lower compared with 180 major cities in the country. And then the other one was income. You know, obviously if you have a good income, you're going to probably feel better about your situation. So 31 different characteristics they looked at.
Well, we do say that, you know, Plano has a great quality of life and great jobs on offer. We're certainly known as a business-friendly community, but it's interesting that you mentioned leisure. You know, our special guest today is with the Parks and Recreation Department, and it's such a major factor in what makes Plano a great place to live. And I did want to talk a little bit about that, because one of my favorite things when I'm out exercising on the trails are spotting bluebonnets. And you know, we're moving into April, and I have it on good authority from Parks and Recreation that any day now we should start to see those bluebonnets blooming. And that seems to be, when I moved to Texas, that's a favorite thing for people to do, is, you know, take their dogs and their babies and engagement photos in fields of bluebonnets. So would you like to hear where some of the best spots are according to Parks and Rec?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there are 4. Now there are bluebonnets throughout the city, but these are the 4 main spots. The right-of-way along Spring Creek Parkway at Oak Point Park and Nature Preserve, right by Red Tail Pavilion, which is what we used to call the Oak Point Amphitheater. The right-of-way along Parker Road at Arbor Hills Nature Preserve, Bluebonnet Trail, naturally, but especially right near Custer Road, and the Legacy and Communications area at Legacy West. And by the way, Parks and Recreation told me that they scattered additional bluebonnet seeds out there over the winter, so that one should be very lush, great for photos.
Wonderful. Well, from flowers and photos to chlorine maintenance. How's
an
that
easy transition.
Good news, Shannah. So the chlorine maintenance ended on April 1st. There may be some lingering odor and taste of chlorine as the water makes its way out of the system, but we're back to normal this month. And honestly, I noticed a little bit of taste and odor this year, but I think it was worse last year. I think it was much better this year.
Yeah, same for me, and I think it's great, you know, get the maintenance over with and get things back to normal. And How about this for a transition? Speaking of water, we're pros this month, Plano. I have some things to tell you that are going on with water. We do an annual water safety fair, and we also do other programming related to swimming, and we'll talk about that with Parks and Rec. And here's a fun one that's a partnership between Plano Parks and Recreation, Plano Library, and Children's Health. It's called Fear Less, Swim More, and it's designed for families to learn more about risks and ways to protect yourself and others at the pool, the pond, or in our area lakes. If you participate in this, you'll enjoy free games, giveaways, and activities. It's designed for all ages. They're going to do a session at Parr Library on April 13th and Harrington Library on May 4th. So that's a good program to do in advance of the pool's opening.
This time of year, I know we always place a priority on water safety. So join the City of Plano for a fun family event and learn how to stay safe around water this summer. It's actually the Water Safety Fair. It'll be Thursday, April 25th. It offers live water safety demonstrations, drowning and response simulation, residential pool safety, games, prize giveaways, even life jacket safety, infant survival demonstration, lessons, water slide safety, whale tails, and more. Really nice event.
Yeah, it is, and that reminds me that we have a really great video up on our YouTube channel that a local Girl Scout group worked with us on last year, talking about the importance of being a water watcher. So you can't take your eyes off of kids in the pool even for a minute. But speaking of springtime, that often it triggers thoughts of spring cleaning, and you can help another person's treasures find a new home by going to the Oak Point Community Garage Sale. That's Saturday, April 6th from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Oak Point Recreation Center. Hugely popular event. In fact, there aren't any more vendor spaces open, but certainly we'd like you all to stop by if you're looking to pick up some trinkets and treasures. Or you can join us on Saturday, April 13th for the Great American Cleanup. This is Plano's largest litter cleanup and Earth Day celebration. In fact, last year, more than 1,800 volunteers cleaned up more than 24,000 pounds of litter throughout Plano on a single day. We'll end the morning with a really fun party. We provide lunch, live music, games, and more. You do need to RSVP through our Facebook event page. And as always, Plano, I'm not going to repeat it over and over, but we put all of the information we talk about in the show in our show notes at InsidePlano.com.
How about some spring cleaning on your finances?
Ooh, that's needed.
Money Smart programming continues with Saving for Retirement, presented by Bank of America at Schimmelfinnig Library on April 3rd, to help adults learn the importance of saving and planning for a healthy financial future. Help kids start thinking about budgeting in a fun and engaging way at the Art Shop at Schimmelfinnig Library, say that 5 times real fast, on April 14th, and at Parr Library on April 20th.
Well, speaking of art, Katarina Provost-Smith will bring her expressionistic multimedia painting style to the 18th Air Space at Harrington Library. Remember, that's the Artist in Residence program at Harrington Library. She'll be there in April. Patrons can participate in workshops on April 7th and April 14th, and they'll learn more about her methods for creating dynamic and colorful collage paintings.
And a community favorite is the library's annual bookmark contest. The winners of the 2019 bookmark contest will be revealed and celebrated at Harrington Library on April 25th at Bookmark Contest Art Celebration. In addition to seeing the winning art on display, patrons can use their creativity at different art stations and watch April Artist in Residence Katarina Provost-Smith in action.
Okay, so seriously, I asked the libraries, who uses a bookmark anyway? You know, a lot of people are reading on e-readers, and I thought, surely this is just a legacy program that we keep doing because we've always done it. And it turns out that this is an incredibly popular program, and they actually have to they print the winning bookmarks, and they have to ration them because people will come in and collect all of them, and they add them to collections year after year. So it's kind of one bookmark per person of each style. So do go check out those winning bookmarks because they're amazingly creative. But what I can't believe is that we haven't even talked about music. Tons of things going on, and it's interesting because we've shared over the past few months that it feels a little quiet in Plano through the winter, but that is not true once we get to April.
No question, spring is the great season for music in Plano. So we have our downtown sessions. Our carefully curated artists provide the perfect ambiance for you to enjoy in downtown Plano every Saturday evening from 7:30 to 10:30. April's theme is Jazz Escape. We have beverage service, which is available on site, provided by the Fillmore Pub. Artists in April include Karina Michaela, Hale Baskin and her Jazz Addiction, and Thaddeus Fabulous Ford.
You and your wife love going to those downtown sessions.
It's great. It's such a nice environment. You might change your middle name to Fabulous.
You know what? I think it is already my middle name, and we just haven't told anybody. But anyway, in addition to what's going on at McCall Plaza, and it's great to have music back on the stage. It's during the winter, it's just too cold to do that. But the Courtyard Texas Music Series is also back.
I have the pleasure of emceeing many of these events along with one of my colleagues, Tom Rice. It's the first Thursday of every month. April 4th is Monty Montgomery. Last month we had Pam Tillis at a sold-out crowd. Really excellent performance. Now, Monty Montgomery, since his jaw-dropping performance on Austin City Limits, he was named one of the top 50 all-time greatest guitar players by Guitar Player magazine. With the release of his eponymous CD, I hope I said that right, he cements his place as not just a blazingly electrified acoustic guitar player, but a songwriter, singer, and master musician. His new project stands out as a throwback to the great pop rock records of the past, showcasing his stylistic diversity. The evening will be opened by husband and wife duo Porter Union. The Springfield, Missouri couple combines raw, emotional themes with a traditional country sound.
Woot woot for Springfield, Missouri. That's where I went to school, Missouri State University. Go Bears. Anyway, Plano, there are a million more things that I'd love for Steve and I to talk about in this month's podcast. We have 2 Facebook Live meetings this month for Neighborhood Leadership Meeting. We've never Facebook Live that before. We're going to starting this year, and that'll be really interesting. You can hear what we talk about with HOAs. Pretty interesting information. And also we'll Facebook Live Coffee with the City. We have property maintenance workshops going on. It's Arbor Day this month. But I feel like we've talked quite a bit, and maybe we should move on to this month's interview.
It's spring, so let's talk about what's happening at our parks. With us is Kelley Crimmins, who's our Community Outreach Specialist for Plano Parks and Recreation. Hi, Kelley.
Hi, Steve.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we always start off our interviews by asking our guests, what is something about them that most people you know aren't aware of? What is it with you?
Well, aside from covering Plano as a reporter for 6 years, I'm also a native of Atlanta. And I was actually named after one of the Charlie's Angels. I was named after Jacqueline Smith's character. I think she was the smart one.
So in other words, you're telling us that your name could be Farrah too, right?
Yeah, no, I don't have the feathered look to go with it, but...
Well, that's interesting. It's funny because a lot of us are named after different people that were celebrities.
Yeah.
You know, I told you I was named after Steve Lawrence, who was a singer when my parents had me, but of course you're too young to remember him.
Yeah, I don't, that's not ringing any bells. I did name my daughter after Audrey Hepburn, though.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
So, yeah.
So we're actually officially into spring now, and we know that Parks and Recreation are very busy. So tell us about some of the lineup of programs and things that are going on with our Parks and Recreation centers.
Oh, well, Steve, if I were to tell you everything that we have going on starting next month, for our spring and summer programs, I don't know if we'd have enough time to go over it. We have a lot in store for our residents this year. It's all going to kick off on April 13th with our annual Easter egg hound hunt at Oak Point Park and Nature Preserve, and that's just an opportunity to get your dogs out there and give them a little Easter treats too. And we'll just go in through April. Summer registration actually starts May 4th, so that's a good date to keep in mind. Obviously, right now, the big thing that people are asking us about are summer camps, and we definitely have a wide array of offerings for preschoolers, kids, teens, everything from STEAM camps to outdoor camps, sports camps, the gamut. We actually have a summer camp catalog that is you can find at our rec centers, and you can go ahead and pick those up. There are spots available. So those are starting to fill up pretty fast. We also have some outdoor adventures planned for this summer. So if you're like me and are ready to get outdoors, we have a lot of things in store for you guys. We have kayaking, we have fishing, night hikes, day trips, and more planned. So be on the lookout for all these events coming up.
Last month, we celebrated the grand reopening of the Sam Johnson Recreation Center for adults
Yes.
50 and over.
That was an amazing, amazing event. And before you ask the question that you're going to ask me, I just wanted to say, if anybody who wasn't there for that opening, I just want to let you know that we had so many people come to that event. That grand opening was the largest. We had the most attendees at this grand opening than we have ever had at any previous grand opening. It was amazing. We had Sam Johnson there, and we gave tours of the new facility. I have not seen so many smiling faces in a long time, so that was a really special day.
I had the pleasure of emceeing the event, and it was standing room only. It was an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
crowd and a really special event. But let's talk about the facility itself,
Sure.
because it is a world-class recreation center.
It truly is, and going back to thinking about what it was and what it is now. I know that the year that it was closed, a lot of people were kind of sad to see it closed. Obviously, it was missed a lot, but it was very much worth it when we opened those doors the other day. This project was a $7.5 million expansion and renovation project that was approved by voters in the 2009 bond election. Some of the amenities and new features include overall 9,000 additional square feet of space to this facility. So that equates to about a 2,800 square foot new cardio and weight room. If you had not seen the weight room prior to the expansion, it was so small. And so now opening that space, we have so many machines, new machines for our older adults to try. And at the grand opening, it was great because there were a lot of curious folks who was wandering around through the weight and fitness room, checking out all the equipment, and some of them didn't know what this equipment was. It's like they had never seen some of it before, and so it was really great to introduce them to new fitness options for them, and so we are super happy to help them get acquainted with the new features. We also have additional dining space and a reconfigured kitchen. The dining room is amazing. It's beautiful. It's so modern in there. All of the fixtures and features is just so modern. There's a coffee bar, so you can go and chat with your friends over some coffee. There's a lounging area, billiards room. People just go hang out and play pool and watch the news on the flat screen. We also have additional parking, which that was definitely a need. As we see, there is much more demand for these types of amenities for our 50-plus demographic. We also have the new restrooms, updated restrooms. We have an expanded wellness center in there, which is right out front, and they offer a lot of services to our older adults as well. So all in all, it was really like having a brand new facility.
My favorite room, my favorite part of the Sam Johnson Center is the exercise room overlooking the park.
Yes.
There's these very
Yes.
large windows, and as you're exercising, you look out into nature and you see trees and
Yep.
greenery. Really a beautiful atmosphere.
It's right over
to
Harrington
exercise.
Park, a lot of natural light coming in. I'm telling you, it was like nothing our patrons there had ever seen before, and we are still, since the grand opening, we have had about 800 people sign up for memberships. That day that it opened, our lines at the front desk there was a line at the front desk for the 3 hours, the first 3 hours that we were open, people wanting a membership. And the good thing about these memberships to the Sam Johnson Center is that they're super affordable. It's only $15 a year for residents to be a member of this center. Non-residents, it's only $25. So, I mean, you really can't beat that. I can't think of a better deal than paying $15 a year to have access to all those amenities.
And if you see the facility, you realize that's a tremendous bargain.
Absolutely. And anybody who hasn't been there, I encourage you to go by, no matter how old you are. I want to work out there.
So what are some of the other parks and recreation projects that are underway?
We have a lot going on, Steve. Actually, we have some playground renovation projects that are going on. We've been doing that, you know, we're always trying to update our playgrounds and our parks as needed, and so that's on a continual basis. Right now we are working on a playground project at Hoblitzel Park. We are going to be starting some community meetings to renovate the playground at Russell Creek Park. And so those meetings will be coming up soon, and we're looking forward to getting feedback on those. We also have the field renovations at Carpenter Park on the north end. And that is probably the big one that is about to get underway. I believe they're going to get started next week. What that consists of is the replacement of our fourplex, our baseball fourplex, and we're going to be replacing that with 4 additional artificial turf fields, which is going to be new for us. And the reason behind all this, you know, Carpenter Park was constructed in 1983. It was opened in 1984, and since then a lot has changed in the sports field as well as in our city. We're taking away the ball fields. We have 69 baseball and softball fields in the city, and what we've come to find out is that participation and the sport in general has been a little bit on the decline in our area and nationwide. And what's happening in Plano, if you haven't noticed, is that we have a lot of diversity in Plano. We are actually trying to meet the demand for our residents. And so these 4 artificial turf fields is going to provide more play space for soccer, football, lacrosse, all those sports. And so it'll be a lot easier for us to do some flexible programming for that and to be able to serve our residents. There's also going to be more parking there too, which I know parking was an issue, and we're going to renovate the playground out there and put a new playground out there. There's going to be some water features, and so yeah, so we're just working to meet the demand of our sports and athletic teams. And so that's going to get started. We're going to have new restrooms there, new field lights, new irrigation. There was a lot at the park that just needed a facelift. So we're going to get started on that soon.
And then of course on the west side of Plano, right off of Spring Creek Parkway and Windhaven Parkway, we have the construction underway of Windhaven Meadows Park, which is really going to be incredible.
Yeah, that's super exciting. So not only are we having a new park, a brand new park being built out there on the west side at Spring Creek and Windhaven, and that's underway. That's a 123-acre park, by the way, if you didn't know. It's pretty large. It's going to include a dog park, an all abilities playground with the help of Liberty Mutual. It's also going to have ample parking, and it's mostly going to be a lot of open space and trail space. We wanted to give people out there an opportunity to have that open space, and we're hoping to get that open in late summer. So we're planning the grand opening as we speak. And speaking of dog parks, we're also opening one on the east side of town at Bob Woodruff, and they're working on that right now. And that project also is expected to open a little bit later this year. So when it's all said and done, by the end of this year, Plano's going to have 3 dog parks, one on the east side, central, and west. So we'll have plenty of space for our pups.
And if you've never been to the dog park, you got to check it out. We have 2 little miniature Australian Shepherds that we take there.
Yeah.
It is so amazing to see so many dogs in the same place and how beautifully they get along.
Yes.
It really is an incredible place.
Well, if you really want to see it for yourself and get a little some freebies in it too, we have our Bark in the Park that's coming up on June 8th, and that's going to be at the dog park at Jack Carter's. So mark that on your calendar, Steve.
Just curious, Kelley, how much does it cost to join our recreation centers?
Well, like I said about the senior memberships, our options are flexible and affordable. We offer annual membership options, which can, you know, if you're an adult and you're a resident here in Plano, you can get an annual membership for $155. So for you, Steve, $155 for a year gets you access into all of our recreational facilities, all of our pools, and all of their amenities. So again, you really can't beat that. If a monthly thing is more flexible for you, then we can do that as well. And adults can have a monthly renewable membership for $19 a month. And so we find ways we just want to get our families in there and give them the options that they're looking for.
I actually have a family membership. There's a
I was
family
going to
membership
say there's
as
family
well.
memberships too. Our family memberships, and the family, when I say family, that's not limited to 2 adults and 2 kids. If you have 5 kids, that constitutes a family, right? So if you have a family of 7, you could get the family membership for $3.99. So that gets all of you guys in. I honestly can't think of a better deal than that.
If you have a family of 7, God bless you.
Yeah.
That's all. Well, let me ask you another question.
You're going to need those recreation centers.
Parks and Recreation, so well known for bringing fun to Plano, but parks really do have a bigger benefit to the community,
Yes.
don't they?
Yes, they
Can you
absolutely
talk
do.
a little about the quality of life benefits from living a healthy life?
Sure, Steve. So what I've come to find out in my role here with Plano Parks and Recreation is we have very many benefits that our parks, our trails, our recreation centers offer to our residents, and they utilize them. We have 7,500 classes each year. That's what we offer just in our rec center, 7,500 classes. We offer something for everybody too. So, you want it, we've got it. We have adult sports. We offer programs for our special needs kiddos and adults. We have preschool programs, fine arts programs, educational classes, aquatics, group fitness, personal trainers, dance classes. So, in terms of benefits, I see many. I see obviously the physical health benefit. We're helping people. I've heard so many success stories. I have a patron who, is raving because we have helped them control their diabetes. We help them reduce the number of medications. And in fact, the Trust for Public Land did a report, a study about our parks and recreation system in Plano, and it was the first time that anybody's really been ever able to quantify the benefits of parks and recreation. We think of, parks and recreation, yeah, they're great because the parks are pretty, or we have a lot of fun. But in order to put a number on that, it was really eye-opening. And what they found is that we generate about $21 million in healthcare cost savings for our residents. And that is in terms of just like what I was saying, reducing your number of trips to the doctor, reducing your number of trips to the hospital, and that sort of thing. And so it really, not just the sense of health benefits, in my opinion, but another benefit that we offer is a sense of community. What I see in our facilities is people coming together from all different backgrounds, socioeconomic groups. It's very diverse. People make lifelong friends in our facilities, and that's the truth. But we also bring in people from the outside in, and that helps generate tourism dollars. So all of our sporting events, again this year we are hosting the USA Softball Gold Nationals softball tournament here at Heritage Yards. And so when we have tournaments like that, they bring in people from all over the country and their families, and they have to find somewhere to stay, they have to find somewhere to eat, they have to find somewhere to shop while they're here. And tourism generated by our athletic events accrues about $39 million in visitor spending for our city. So we also contribute economically as well. And so what we have to offer, it benefits the residents, benefits the people who come here, and again, really gives us that sense of community. And we really do feel like we take pride in knowing that we have a great responsibility in just preserving and enhancing Plano's quality of life.
Kelley, thank you very much for joining us today.
You are welcome, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
Kelley Crimmins, Community Outreach Specialist for our award-winning Plano Parks and Recreation Department.
Steve, that was a really great interview with Kelley. Not
Thank you.
my husband, Kelley, but our Kelley for Parks and Recreation. You know, after living in Plano for nearly 20 years, my Kelley, my husband, and I finally got a rec center membership just over a year ago. And it's really great. I feel like an idiot for not having signed up a long time ago. It has all of the equipment and classes that we're used to, and it's an incredible value.
Yeah, you know, my favorite is I've lived pretty close to the Tom Muhlenbeck Center, and what a class facility. I mean, they have such great equipment. They have an indoor and outdoor pool there. There's just so much to do. Lots of classes. There's a spin class. You know, I look at our rec centers, and some of them are very comparable to the private clubs, health clubs that you can join. I mean, just top-notch facilities.
Absolutely. I mean, when they renovated Oak Point Rec Center, I mean, it's gorgeous. So I can't wait to see what Liberty Recreation Center is going to look like when that renovation is complete. Well, Steve, I've got something on my mind to talk about this month, and it's not going to surprise you at all what the topic is. Did you know there's going to be a half marathon in Plano this month?
No, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think so too. It's Saturday, April 27th at Oak Point Nature Preserve, and it's the first Plano half marathon. It's not put on by Plano Parks and Recreation. An outside group is putting it on, but it's hosted by the city of Plano, and it's going to start and finish at Red Tail Pavilion. Course is going to showcase some of what we think are the best urban park trails in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's going to go through Woodland Oaks and Blackland Prairie, creeks, streets, more. And it's going to be entirely on paved trails and city streets. So for runners like me, that means it's not a trail course, it's a paved trail course. And it's also environmentally friendly. Bring your own bottle. They're not going to hand out cups because we love to live green in Plano.
That same weekend, Shannah, is Art Fest in downtown Plano. It's a free community event built around artistic inclusiveness, creative curiosities, and cultural connection. The 2019 festival will include a week of community art programming that culminates in a two-day festival in the downtown Plano Arts District. The festival runs Saturday and Sunday, April 27th and 28th. There will be live music, contemporary art installations, performances from local arts groups, a maker's market of craftsmen and artisans, family chalk art, which is always fun, a kids zone with bounce houses, and much more.
You know, there's always great food at the festivals, so that in addition to the artwork, I love going and checking out the food. And honestly, everywhere in Plano there's great food. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Earlier this year, Yelp named Plano the #4 best city in America for foodies.
You know, I imagine probably there were several reporters that made Kathy Lee's surprised face when they saw that, but it's true that Plano has a great food scene. We talk about it every month. You know, Plano was also on 2 other Yelp lists. We had 2 of the top 100 Yelp restaurants in Texas, EB Latin Bistro, which is on the west side of town, and Crepes for You, which is on the east side of town. And Plano's own 60 Vines made Yelp's list of the top 100 most romantic restaurants in the U.S.
And just last month, the Press Waffle Company, who opened their first permanent location at Legacy Food Hall back in 2017, appeared on Shark Tank and secured a $300,000 investment deal. Things are really happening around the Plano food issue.
Well, why do you think Plano's so known for food? I mean, we talk about it every month, but what is it about Plano and food? Is it, you know, I mean, you used to joke that in Texas people like to go shopping. That's why we had so much retail space. But really, I feel like there's every kind of restaurant that you want to have in Plano. Does that mean that Plano just likes to eat and then go work out at our parks, right?
I think the answer is diversity. I think our wide array of restaurants is really a reflection of the diversity in our community. You know, there's so many different types of cultures, ethnic groups, and there's so many different types of restaurants that reflect that. I mean, you and I have talked about it before. You know, we have more restaurants per capita in Plano than San Francisco, which is a city known globally for its wide variety of great restaurants. But, you know, you and I, we've tried Filipino food. We've had everything from Japanese, Chinese, Lebanese. We tried Jamaican food in Plano. I mean, there's so many different varieties. And, you know, of course, we have those chain franchise restaurants, but I love the mom and pop restaurants. I like the restaurants where there's only one and not another like it. And we have such an abundance of those places.
Yeah, I agree. And there's something about what you're talking about with diversity. When a restaurant opens, that's a sign that you're not only a diverse community, you're a diverse community that has roots, because now people want to express themselves through their food and connecting with their greater community. So it's not people passing through, it's people calling Plano home. And you know, Plano, when you know that when we talk food, that means we're at the end of our podcast. So I'm already sitting here thinking that maybe I want a crepe at Crepes for You, or maybe I want to go have a waffle or 60 vines. Well, maybe not, it's a work day. But before you head to your next to-do or go eat, will you please take 5 minutes and leave a review for our podcast? It helps other people find us, and we're so happy that our Inside Plano audience is growing. We'll talk to you next month.
Bye, everybody.
And that's it for our Inside Plano. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did doing it.
If you have any comments or suggestions, send them to us at askplano@plano.gov. Bye!
Talk to you next month. The Inside Plano podcast is brought to you by the City of Plano and 97.5 KLAK.